The Queen of Swords. Who is the Queen of Swords? And what is she trying to tell you when she comes up? Hello, divine people. This is Daily Divinity, and we are looking at a card by card deep dive into the 78 tarot cards. We are basing this off the Rider-Waite, pretty classic tarot deck. Within the 78 cards, there are 4 minor arcana suits, 1 Fool's Journey, captured by the major arcana, 22 cards. Within each of the 4 suits, there are 14 cards. The Queen is one of them. Or actually, the Queen is 4 of them because there are 4 different queens. Okay, first I will give you 3 big words to describe the overall nature of the Queen of Swords. Then I'll go into the visual description. Then we'll talk about the meaning of the card, and then we'll finish up with some questions that you can ask when this comes up, or questions to inspire you to ask related questions. We'll talk about some context. And I will also show you the Queen of Swords from other decks so that you can see how she's represented across different tarot decks. Okay, the 3 words that I would use to describe the Queen of Swords. Truth. Not even truth, but clear truth. Um, Honesty is different. All right, let me start over. Sorry. Clarity, honesty, and nuance. And what I mean by nuance is that even though the Queen of Swords has that sword, and even though that sword is for cutting through the nonsense, the Queen of Swords is also amazing at dealing with complexity, at dealing with, let's really detangle this nonsense so that we can pull out not just the truth, but the complicated truth. Because the Queen of Swords, unlike the King, is a woman. And so she's got a better handle on disorder. She's got a better handle on chaos. By and large, feminine, and this doesn't go for all women or all men, right? This is just it's a more feminine quality to be able to understand complicated, chaotic, disordered, living kind of things. That's why women or feminine people are generally thought to better handle relationships because relating because relationships are a very nuanced, complicated thing. It's not cut and dry, cut and paste, order, order, order. It's not the King of Swords would not would not be able to do what the Queen of Swords does. Okay, image description. Great. Let's get into what she looks like. So, um, the Queen of Swords has a very large regal woman seated on a very large regal throne, facing toward the right. So she's actually, you see her by the side of her, by her right side. She's facing um, toward the right so that you see the side of her face, and she has an expression of clarity. She wears a crown adorned with butterflies, representing transformation and intellectual freedom. The crown is yellow? I don't know actually. It's like yellow with a little bit of red, like little red butterflies on it. Her right hand holds an upright sword. The upright part of that is important because none of the other court cards in the swords suit are holding their sword upright exactly. It is not at a perfectly 90-degree angle. They are all a little bit leaning. Not the queen. Not the queen. The queen is like, this is what it is. I see the complexity, but this is what it is. Upright. So her right hand holds an upright sword, symbolizing truth, clarity, and discernment. Her left hand is extended in a kind of like I'm offering you something kind of way. Almost a little, it's a little bit giving like the Miss America wave. It's like it's like that a little bit. So very feminine, very like maternal hand gesture. So okay, again, her right hand is holding an upright sword and her left hand is extending an openness to either receiving help or offering help. Maybe even help in the way of telling something to someone. The queen's robe is gray and white, symbolizing neutrality and purity of thought. Actually, it's more like gray and white and blue, symbolizing neutrality and purity of thought. And I would say clarity too, because of the blue. The sky behind her is clear with some clouds, indicating a clear mind and occasional emotional depth. There are birds in the distance. Actually, there is only one bird in the distance, and I think this is because she is focused. She's got a perspective, but her perspective is focused on that one bird. Because all the other swords, again, all the 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 other sword court cards have many, many birds, and the king has two, the knight has a bunch, and the page has a bunch, and so that tells me that their perspective is scattered amongst all these different things. And the throne is decorated with cherubs, signifying protection and guidance. Okay, so that's the imagery. What does it mean? Well, I hinted at it a little bit in the description and in the three words. I would say overall, this card signifies a very higher kind of intelligence in the sense that she's able to hold that complexity. It signifies insight, clear insight, and it signifies honesty, truth, like harsh, not harsh, but blunt, very real. I'm not gonna, you know, tiptoe around this. This is what it is, the truth. I'm being honest with you, being straight up with you, and I'm the Queen of Swords. But she is also caring, like that hand that she's offering that help, she's caring. So I think the questions related to this could be, how can you offer the truth honestly in a way that is also helpful? How can you listen to the truth in a way that is real and helpful? Because again, she's a maternal, she represents the mom of the court cards, the queen. And so there's a real caring, attentive, nurturing vibe there. So whatever the truth is that she's out here telling everybody or expressing or holding back, she's doing it for the sake of being attentive and caring and helpful. So make sure that whether you are giving that truth or receiving that truth, that you are doing so in a way that is useful. And the swords being what they are, the tool that they are, that you can cut with them. A last question you could ask is, how can you tell the truth about what is not needed, what is not useful, and cut that out? Okay, so here are the queens from the other decks. Here's the Queen of Swords from the Modern Witch Tarot deck, which is a phenomenal deck, and I review each of these decks. Feel free to look for those videos where I go through the decks. There's the Queen of Bats from the Halloween deck, and here is the Queen of Winter from the Fairy Tarot deck. And as you can see, they're all very similar. The Queen of Winter is probably the least. Uh, the Fairy Tarot deck is probably the, let's call it, the most loose interpretation, visually anyway, of the Rider-Waite original imagery, or commonly used classic imagery. But it's it's a similar vibe. The Queen of Winter is facing not directly forward. She's a little bit to the side. She's holding her sword upright. She's very regal looking, a lot of purples, a lot of golds in that card. Um, okay, all right. So like, comment, and subscribe to let me know if you haven't already that you are liking this content that is helpful to you. Let me know what else or what more you would like to see, and stay divine out there.